All right. Hey, so I am now on the line with a Mr. Trevor El Morenito Brown. You are a dancer for the past 10 years. Do you specialize in salsa or, all the Latin styles or what?
Just salsa. I mean, I can dance bachata, but it's not really my heart, man. So
Okay.
I don't really pursue it. All I'm trying to do is get better at salsa, man. That's it.
Okay. Sure enough, sure enough. So you were born in New Jersey, but you currently reside in Maryland. You've been dancing for the past 10 years, been teaching for approximately the past 6 years, and you currently teach at Dancing with Silvia, her dance school. Is that right?
Yeah, salsa with Silvia. I teach there Mondays and Wednesday nights. And then I have my own social dance team outside of that, where I kind of do my own thing, where I basically have a team of, well, at least I just started. I have a team of people that are that I'm taking basically from the advanced beginner level and trying to level them up to a nice intermediate / advanced level. So I'm just giving them some tools. We're gonna have tests and stuff like that. Try to give people a chance to feel like they've accomplished something. And at least at the very least with that, I at least gave people the tools they need in order to really progress. And some people, progress faster than others, but I'm trying to give them at least a chance, maybe, 2.5 months of training before they, get put to the test. And then I also, I teach around the country at different festivals. I've even taught internationally twice. I taught in Bulgaria and I taught in Calgary last year. So yeah, I'm just trying to do it all, kind of do my own thing and still kind of be there for the community as well, for different socials and stuff like that. So.
Okay, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I told you before we started, but Salsa with Silvia was the very first person I had on my show, man. So I think it's super cool. How things come about. I think that's super cool, man.
No, she has a good business. She has a good business here. So just trying to, level people up, however the best I can. So
tell me, I know you said you were born and raised in New Jersey, man. Tell me about your childhood growing up in New Jersey. What was that like for you?
Not salsa related. Funny things actually. I grew up around a very diverse group of people. I did learn the basics of salsa when I was younger. It's not something, but I don't really count it because I never used it. Right? I remember my dad hosting classes or something at this. At least the building was called the Puerto Rican Congress, but I really never. I couldn't even tell you who actually taught the class. I remember this was in middle school, and I never used it. The most I guess kind of learned was like merengue. You know what I'm saying? So in high school, I thought I was the shit. Just doing hey suavemente. I'm like yeah, y'all know really I can get down. But yeah, honestly, it was just a kind of sports. I was very sports heavy. I was in honor classes and, just was a class clown. But dance, other than maybe a little bit of hip hop, just going to the clubs or something like that was not, or especially Latin dance was not, at least growing in my childhood growing up like that. So.
Where are your parents from?
They're from the States. Dad's from Atlantic City. My mom's from North Carolina.
Okay, so I don't know. Are you of Latin descent or are you African American or what?
Just African American, man.
So growing up in Jersey, do you remember what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Yeah, I'm doing it now. I wanted to be an engineer. I don't dance full time, so I wanted to be. Oh well. Originally, I knew logically I wanted to be an engineer, but I growing up I wanted to be an NBA player. I'm only 5'9", so you know what I'm saying. The odds of me being able to do that were very slim. I grew up actually. Funny thing, I don't know if you know him, but J.R. Smith. I went to school with him. I literally was playing ball with him from yay high, and he was always taller than everyone. So it's he was dunking on the 7-foot courts. So. But yeah, that's what I really wanted to do. But I mean, I knew very early, like, okay, like this probably ain't gonna work out. Like, but I was also a smart kid, and I kind of always, did well in school. So I was like, I know this is probably the route. So, and then just did basketball in college, or track and soccer in college and stuff like that. So mostly track, but I did pretty well in soccer and track for sure.
Okay, all right, so you definitely were active. What school did you go to? What collegiate college?
Rutgers University.
Is that what, D2, D1? What is that?
D1. That's the state
man,
school in Jersey.
Oh wow, that's D1. So you definitely were good, man.
Yeah, nah. I mean, I didn't play ball there. I was too short. But I mean, I did run on the track team there. At least I walked on, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I only did track for 1 year. And then I got, literally, as I was kind of making a name for myself, I got hurt. I hurt my Achilles. I had the fastest time in my area, and then my Achilles, I hurt it playing soccer, because I was trying to figure out which one I wanted to do. And like literally the week before, like the biggest race, me and this other guy were going to show down, and I got hurt. So and then I literally, on a hurt Achilles, I placed 8th in state sectionals. I mean, that's pretty damn good, you know what I'm saying? But 8th place isn't good overall. But like, it was clear that I was literally limping through the race and still beat the majority of people in the section, that I can, still get 8th place is an accomplishment, but it's not good enough for me, knowing what I was capable of. So, but God obviously had other plans. So, you gotta move on and do what you can.
Okay. I definitely understand that, man. So you're going to school for an engineer, and you get injured, man. I guess what becomes your priority after you had kind of to put sports off, or your hobbies.
Nothing. I'm an introvert, man. I'm an introvert. I mean, I still play ball, like, as a cardio. I love playing ball. Like, I was still very competitive with that, but it was just lifting weights, playing ball, and then school. Like, I'm a big introvert. I'm a homebody introvert. I really don't. The funny thing is, I really don't like being around people. So yeah, I'm like the pandemic was like the best thing that ever happened to me. That's how happy I'm saying, how much of an introvert I am. So yeah, I after school, like after sports, was just literally like, being home, homework, and just getting through, so I can, get a job and do all the things I need to do. I really wasn't trying to be like friends with that many people. I didn't really go out. Like, cause I did a lot of going out when I was in high school and stuff like that. Just like house parties and stuff like that. But you would think college is supposed to be the huge turn up. And basically, I'd say after maybe a few weeks of my freshman year, and I was like, I'm good. I just want to be in the dorm chilling, man. So.
And so that's very, we'll definitely get into it. That's very ironic that you're now a social dancer. You currently hate people, so we'll definitely get into that. So tell me this, man. How did you, outside of your merengue in your younger years, how did you first get introduced to the Latin dance and the social dancing?
So when I was moving to Maryland, my parents, I was like, I need a hobby. My parents had some lessons left over from some studio in a surrounding town. I was like, all right, let me just, finish that. I was like, I need a hobby when I move. So I just tried that. But I didn't really keep going with it. Like, I just took the few lessons. And then as soon as I moved to Maryland, I really didn't dance it or anything like that. It didn't really stick with me. Like, whatever I was learning there, it was definitely overpriced. I know that. Knowing what I know now, I was like, it was definitely. I mean, again, I didn't have to pay for anything, but knowing the package they were trying to sell me and all this other stuff, like, I don't remember the price, but I just remember I was like, yo, what? And especially for the quality of instruction, like, I know if I went back there now, I don't know if their still exists, but I remember some years ago, I was like, yo, maybe I should try to go back there and find where they're at. But yeah, they're not good. They're not good. They didn't really teach how to lead and follow. Just hey, do this move, and it's like somehow voila, right? Like so. Yeah, I just needed a hobby because I knew moving to a new place, I wasn't going to have any friends, and I was like, okay, I kind of need to meet people. I just need to meet some people so that on my non-introvert times, I guess that I can, just have some people to talk to. It can be, I don't really get lonely like that, but I think it's always healthy to kind of get out the house at some point. So that I thought that would have been good, but I really, as soon as I got to Maryland, I stopped. I just went to just hip hop clubs. I was like, that was where I felt more comfortable at.
How old were you when you moved to Maryland?
That's a good question. I was 20. I want to say 20. It was in 2011. Yeah, 2011. So I feel like I was 24, 25 at that time.
And Rutgers, I don't know. Is that Maryland or New Jersey?
No, that's Jersey. Jersey. Yeah, nothing DMV until I moved here. Yeah.
And so tell me this then, growing up in Jersey until you're pretty much an adult, what was it like transitioning to, a new state, a new area? And what was that like for you?
I guess it was kind of hard, because like, oh man, I don't know if I can say that. I'll just say I'm Jersey biased, and I thought Maryland people were a little too stuck up for my personal opinion, the quality they think they are. You know what I'm saying? Like Jersey, I get it. We have huge bravado. We're very stylish. We're all kind of always on the go and everything. But I felt like Maryland was, no offense, a step down. So it was like, so people were, I thought were like kind of stuck up, and I'm like, yo, like, especially because they, like the environment in Maryland is different. Like people dress well, they don't dress up, like, and that's fine, which is fine. But like going to a bar. When I went to a bar, like I was in like a button-down jeans and some nice shoes. Like going to a bar here in Maryland, or at least in the DM, a lot of times, especially like in the Baltimore area, that's kind of where I was at a lot. People go to bars in flip-flops and sandals and like shorts. So I'm like, what? I'm like, these people are weird, man. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is new. And then, and then the music they played was a lot more techno. I mean, not to say that Jersey didn't have techno, it did, but that was more so like in Atlantic City a little bit. But they still had like hip hop sections, you know what I'm saying? Where like most of the night could be hip hop, and then they had a little techno, whatever. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's when I kind of like get to the side or something like that. Let the techno people do what they do. The hip hop are gonna come back in like 20, 30 minutes, so I'll chill. So it definitely, for me personally, it was just like a different environment. So I was like, I don't want to say it was hard, but like it was just very different, and just took some getting used to getting acclimated.
Okay, now I definitely understand that. So you moved to Maryland, and I guess at what point do you start to take, I guess, social dancing more serious, and what provokes that?
Easy. I was like, hip hop. I'm like, I'm just tired of the hip hop clubs, man. Like the music was trash. Today's rap music is absolutely trash. And not to say there's no gems in it, but generally, like it's just bad. I'll just leave it at that. And then like the culture, the vibes, like if you try to dance with someone, especially the ladies, like it's almost like they're assuming that you're trying to hit on them, right? Like, or like you have to pay these absorbent prices to get in, and girls are there just dancing with their friends. So it's like, if I'm paying like just to, I'm from not necessarily just to, get with the ladies. I want the good vibes and stuff like that. But I'm like, vibes is trash. I'm like something's got to give, right? If I'm not having fun and I'm doing this over and over, like this ain't fun. So I was like, I was like, I need to try a different. I was like, yeah, no, I like tried Latin dance before, so let me just try this. And I was like, in my brain, I'm very logical, so I'm like, it seems like if I don't have to. When I tried, I was like, oh, I can literally dance with people. No one's really assuming that I'm trying to get with them, and I really don't have to talk that much. I was like, oh my god, like this is perfect. Like this is perfect. And I'm like, now that I actually took it, I was like, oh, like, yo, the music is, yo, this man, I can get to it. Yo, this is y'all kind of want to get better at this, and then kind of just took off from there.
Okay, so wait, so that was 10 years ago, right? I would assume.
So this is like 2013. It's like 2 years after I moved. It's like 2 years after I moved.
Okay, so tell me this, and I want to hear all about it. Tell me about your beginner stage then.
Man, I was once I started, I was in. Like I was going out.
Who did you start with?
I started going at. So I started doing stuff at Latin Palace. I don't know if you know that, but like it was some club in Baltimore. And then as I started kind of getting to know people and stuff like that, there was other, because all I did was, were there weekly lessons? Yeah, it was some weekly lessons, but it was very few. It was like 2 or 3 people. I remember, not very many. And I like made a connection with this one salsa teacher, and like she saw that I was like getting better or hungry and stuff like that. So she was teaching me stuff. And then I started other weekly lessons with Salsa Now, Nice and Alex. So that's kind of really, at least my on one beginning started. And I only did on one for like a year. So, and then I started, so for 6 months I was in Baltimore just dancing. And then I remember meeting this girl. She was like, yo, you need to drive to Virginia, the salsa room. I was like, man, that's far. Like I'm not trying to drive that far. And then she's like, man, because her main complaint was like, even though I think she lived in Baltimore, but she would always go to the salsa room. She's like, it's so small. Yeah, well, that was in Virginia. That was the salsa room was in Virginia, in Arlington. She was like, man, Baltimore's so small. At least the places that we were dancing, very small. And she was like, man, they got it's tons of space. It's powder on the floor. Like the way she described it, like, I mean, she's not lying, but the way she described it made it seem like, yo, like the best of the best be over there. So I'm like, I'm like eager to get better. I'm like, okay, let me see what these people are about. And I'm like, I'm like, yo, this man's space. I'm like, yo, these people are way better over here. I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, I need to come here more often. So I would like go to Baltimore on Friday nights or something like that. And, and then Saturday nights I go to DC, Virginia. And then like, it just started getting to the point where I was like, I'm just going to DC, Virginia every like Friday and Saturday, you know what I'm saying? And then if I'm like super tired or something like that, then I just go to Baltimore. But yeah, I was hungry, man. And then I met people over there in DC. And they were like, yeah, you need to try salsa too. And I was like, what the heck is that? And I remember seeing it and I was like, yo, they look weird. They're dancing off time. I was like, nah, this ain't. And then this one girl, she kept saying like, yo, if you really want to get better, you gotta do on two. And I was like, nah, I'm good. But and then she mentioned a certain teacher. And I was like, I've never seen him before. I've never heard of him before. Little did I know that I've seen him before, but I didn't know his name. And when she showed me him, I was like, oh, him? And I remember seeing him because he taught at the Salsa Nest one time. And I was like, yo, he different. I was like, he different. And then I never got to like talk to him or anything like that. But I was like, oh, he dances on too? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to think about this. And then literally 2014, I was like, all right, that's my New Year's resolution. I'm learning on two. And then from there, his name is Simon. He's like the DMV GOAT. Like to me, he's the best ever to come out of DC, the DMV area. There's some other heavy hitters, but for me, he's the GOAT. That's where I learned from. And I adapted other people's styles, something like that. But that's where Simon is who I learned from. So yeah.
Okay. I definitely want to hear about that. I want to hear about on too. But tell me this, man. Since you've been dancing since 2013, almost 10 years now, tell me for other people who may be beginners out there, what are some things that you would have done differently? And I guess another way to word that is, what are some things that you know now that you wish you had known back then?
I don't think I would have done anything differently. I was consistent. Like, you have to be consistent. And I really, so generally I learn quick, for the most part, at least when it came to like, and this is kind of how teaching started kind of because I didn't really want to teach. I really did not want to teach, but, like honing in on your basics, that I was able to adapt those basics very, very quickly. I mean, I look back at old videos and still like, I'm like disgusted with myself, but I at least know like my basics were solid. You know what I'm saying? Like my timing was right. Like I may not have looked good, but like my basics were solid and my timing was right. Most people don't have all three, right? Like it's hard to look good in the beginning. You may think you do, but it's going to be hard to look good in the beginning. So I would say record yourself, get your basics down, and timing is, in my opinion, should be included in the basics. But yeah, and you have to be consistent. Got to be consistent. Most people think, oh, I just attended a dance social, and so I got it now. I'm gonna try all these different. Like no, like for me, the reason like kind of my logo and I got the nickname, even though people did kind of say that to me when I was in high school a little bit, nothing too crazy, but I was literally practicing in the bathroom, like at work. Like I was literally going over partner work, like, and all my Latin friend or like my Latin coworkers, they caught me a few times. Oh, okay, Morenito. I see. Okay. Right. Like that's how I kind of got my name. And I was like, I literally was practicing the moves in the bathroom, going over the steps, trying to understand how to lead and stuff like I was doing that all the time. Anytime I could, I'll go to the bathroom. There was like space in there. So I'm going over steps, boom, boom, boom. Okay, this is what we learned last week. This is what I'm going to do. I don't think a lot of leads are doing that now. They just, take a class and then, oh yeah, I'm going to get like muscle memory is the only way you're going to be able to actually do it on the dance floor. So.
I definitely understand that. And I think as two leads, I think as always, we all have that same journey of, that initial difficulty phase. And as you continue to practice, you get to get better and everything. I'm curious, at what point did you feel confidence in yourself? And I guess more so, when did you feel comfortable or confident at social? Do you remember at that point?
I can't really say that. I guess I can't really pinpoint something, but I mean, I know I know when I was going to class, and even when I started going to classes, everybody wanted to dance with me. That's all I remember. So, and at least when I first started, there was really no one. So but I was able to somehow pick up the basics. So with a few people, like some of the followers were like, oh, I want to practice, practice partner with them. Right. And then when I went to another class, like, I was like, okay, this is different. Like, okay, I'm learning this. And then people would be like, if I missed a class or something like that because I had something to do for work or when I was out of town, they were like, oh, where were you? Oh man, I was looking for, what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I was like, oh, okay. Like I'm doing something, and then, yeah, just in classes, like I would always be told good job or, follow. It's like I could clearly see like if a lead is messing up and it's like, and then a follower gets to me and they're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, that was that I can't pinpoint it, but I just remember seeing that type of stuff happen.
Okay, no, I definitely understand that, man. I definitely do. I think I'm kind of going through that right now myself, man. So I'm in the military and I currently live in Guam, and I don't want to like brag or anything, man, but like the class I go to, I'm easily the best dancer there. So I definitely understand what you mean, but I also have to remind myself that like when I go back stateside, I'm from Virginia. So when I go back stateside, man, I have to realize there are a lot of great dancers back stateside.
Oh yeah. No. I never, even though that happened, I was always still looking at others. Like, yo, damn. Like for me, so I'm a very motivated person, and I'm always someone who's kind of like, no matter what, I'm always comparing myself to the best. So I may be the shit in this little pond here, but I've already seen the ocean. So I'm already like, yo, this person, that person. I'm like, oh, that's who I need to get. Like for me, I want it to be the best. So I'm like, I can't, yeah, I may be cool right now, but I'm like, yo, I know they're the ones who I need to level up to. So for me, I'm never thinking like, okay, yeah, I just got it like that. Cause for me personally, anytime I go out, like it's like a weird way to like kind of look at it. But for me, it's like practice and I'm like battling myself. So like for me, it's like, yes, I do have fun, but for me, fun is like elevating. You know what I'm saying? Being able to execute things that I wanted to execute. Like I generally usually have a game plan. Like, okay, I want to, oftentimes, not all the time, but generally I'm like, okay, I want to execute maybe these 2 or 3 moves. And if I don't do that, if I'm not able to, it doesn't matter the follows level. If I feel like I'm not able to, or because I always try to make the follows feel comfortable. And if I feel, I maybe I get a follow that's able to do it and I'm not like it doesn't stick or it doesn't go right. For me, it's like, that's a failure for me. And in that sometimes get ruin my night and sometimes I won't let it show. But like I'm always constantly trying to elevate. So I'm like, I want to be the best. I want to get better. Even though I don't do this full time, I approach it like I'm doing it full time, and I compare myself to people that are doing it full time. So I never think like I got it like that, you know.
Talk to me about the benefits of going to a dance conference, a dance festival.
Wow, man. Okay, man. Man, you get to dance with a multitude of people. Like I can't express how beneficial that is. Like, because you can be like a performance, right? You could be cool, dancing with your same partner and doing all this stuff. But for me, if you can't execute a lot of those different moves and make all those follows feel comfortable and protected, then you're not necessarily a great dancer. You just have someone that you're familiar with. Dancing, or at least social dancing, you're supposed to be able to dance with whomever, whenever, and go and be able to have, generally speaking, you're not going to have chemistry with everyone, but generally speaking, you're supposed to have that chemistry and be able to provide clear leading for the follows to follow. And vice versa. Followers should be able to relax and be able to be led so that a lead can do a lot of different things. But again, it's not just about moves, it's about making the followers feel comfortable and safe and protected and enjoying the music as well. So, you get to learn from a multitude of teachers, like high level teachers, not just me, like some of the best teachers in the world, the best dancers in the world. And like, once you go to a festival, you might get a little bougie. You might get a little bougie because like you're like, damn man, I want to experience that again, you know, like, and then you go back home and you're kind of seeing the same people all the time, and you're like, man, I like these people, but I want something new, you know, and then that feeling, indescribable, man, indescribable. Like we call it a bug for a reason. Like when you catch the bug, you got it. So. Trust me, traveling to festivals is just a great experience, man. And for me personally, I would recommend traveling overseas. To me, they're just the best of the best, like in Europe. So they have like all the best festivals. Not to say there aren't any good here in the States, but me personally, my favorites are overseas.
Hey, I definitely understand that, man. All those things I definitely agree with. And I want to also add the amount of like inspiration or motivation you can draw from being.
Oh yeah, by being around the best, for sure. By being around the best, the best teachers, or at least teachers that you weren't even aware of, right? Like you'll see all these amazing dancers, and it's like, oh, I want to get like them, but you got to put in the work, you know, in order to get like them. It just doesn't happen. You don't just wake up out of bed, boom, I'm able to do 3 spins, you know, like that's not how it works. But and then you also, like, while you're traveling, you can, even if you're not taking classes, you can at least tour a city that you've never been to, right? So you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So.
I definitely agree with all that, man. I definitely do, man. You brought this up a couple of times, man. Let me ask you this: for more so, like, we'll say beginners out there, man, beginner leads out there. Can you tell me how can they go about making their dance partner feel comfortable? You know, what are some things they can keep in mind?
Easy. Leads have to understand, if they don't. The first thing we have to do is make the follower feel comfortable and keep our timing, right? So if you can't do a move, or if you do a move and the follow is visibly or provides some uncomfortable, like looks visibly comfortable, or just giving you like social cues or like you can see that they're falling, they're too tense, way too tense, and just keep it basic. Keep it basic. Just because you think you know a lot of moves, it doesn't really matter, especially if you can't execute the moves on time in a safe way. So I think a lot of leads get misconstrued because they may see me on a dance floor doing a whole bunch of different moves, but I am able to execute those moves on time in a safe manner so that the follow is a clear signal. Hey, follows, you can do all of this stuff. And I'll still try to enjoy the music as well. I give the follows time to, you know, do their styling, because I can style as well and shine and stuff like that. But I say the biggest thing is in the beginning of a song, stop doing moves. Like, just do a few basics. Get to know your partner. That's the only way you're gonna know like what they're capable of. Like, no matter who I'm dancing with, even if it's generally someone I know and I know they're like an advanced dancer or something like that, I will still give them like a crossbody lead, right turn, left turns in the beginning. Like, I'm not just like, okay, boom, like I'm not doing that. Like, I need to understand their how tense they are as a follow. I need to understand you know, our dance chemistry, right? Like, I may have good dance chemistry with some person, but maybe they're having a bad day today, right? Like, so it may be, oh, okay, so I need to, all right, you know, it doesn't feel as right. So, okay, just glide a little bit, you know, just do some basics, feel the music. Basically feel the music and just kind of do basics, especially in the beginning. Just like, you shouldn't be going crazy on a romantica, right? like the reason we're there is to accent the music. So if it's nice, slow, you shouldn't be going, you know, nice groove with the follow. Make the follow feel good. That's the biggest thing, especially the biggest compliment I usually get is I'm able to make a follow feel good. Like, oh wow, like that felt nice. Like, no follow. I to the day, I don't think a follow has been like, they may like some challenging stuff, some of them, but like that's not the biggest thing. Is, oh my gosh, I like the way you lead. Like, you're very clear. You make me feel safe. You make me feel like, no matter what, from advanced to beginner, like I will challenge you a little bit, but like the goal is to not like to keep it a little bit interesting, but still make you feel good at the end of the day. Like, I'm always trying to dance with my partner, not like technically at my partner. We're trying to do a whole bunch of moves just because I want to do moves and stuff like that. So,
no, I definitely understand that, man. I definitely understand that. That's quite a skill. To be able to make your partner feel comfortable. That is a skill. Let me ask you this.
Yes, it's just really just a mindset. Just knowing, like, I'm not going to do a move that I haven't personally perfected yet, because I want to make sure that when I do it, the follower is going to feel good doing it, or I'm clear with my leading. Right? Like, I generally try not to lead anything that I feel could be harmful. are detrimental. Like I try not to do a lot of the different head dips and stuff like that, or stuff like because or like picking up a follow because I'm like, yo, this is like not that I can't do any of those things, but to me, I don't think they're, even though they may look cool, I don't think they're so good for social dancing purposes. Maybe like a performance or something like that. But for social dancing, I don't think it's conducive because I don't think a lot of followers would understand a lot of those things, and then I don't know if they would feel comfortable doing a lot of those things. So,
I definitely understand that, man. Tell me, what got you into teaching? You know, how did that come about?
oh man, oof. Okay, so I honestly did not want to teach. Like I was like, I did not want to teach because all I'm thinking about is me. I'm like, yo, I just want to learn and get better and be the best. Like I don't want to like be bothered like teaching people. But it just kind of came natural because like generally in almost every class or all the, like at some point someone asked me like, yo, how did you do that? Or how did you get the follow to do that? Even though the teacher described it, I would just be like, hey, you know what? You just do it like this, or sometimes, oh, the teacher didn't say this, but like if you do this, boom, boom, the follow, go, and then everybody's, oh, wow, like, yeah, you no, man, you explained that really well. And I was like, okay, like, I appreciate that, man. Like, you should teach. I'm like, yo, like, I still feel crazy feeling that I've been like teaching for 6 years, like teaching like 4 years in, like that's to me, for me, that's like kind of crazy. And I know sometimes it's not time that can kind of say if you should teach or not. But like for me, I try to really respect the dance. And when I remember seeing Eddie Torres Jr., who's like the son of Mambo, Eddie Torres. This was like 10. I think he was like 10 years in. He was like, he doesn't even feel qualified to teach. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, 10 years in, he's learned from the godfather of it, right? And he doesn't feel qualified to teach as good as he is. Like, who do I think I am? You know what I'm saying? And people literally had to like kind of just like throw me in the deep end, because I was like, yo, like, no way, man. Like, there's no, like, even though I'm explaining stuff to people, I'm like, there's no way. Like people would ask me like, oh, come to this party and teach. And I'm like, no, like not at a club, but just like a get together. I'm like, yo, I feel like that's blasphemous for me to be doing that. And it wasn't until my teacher was like, yeah, sign. It was like, yeah, that should be. I asked him like, do you think I should be teaching? He's like, well, I think that's your next progression. Like that's another way for you to level up. Is to to be able to teach your own classes and kind of move up like that. And I was like, oh man. And so anyone that knows me knows how much I idolize Zion. And so I was like, as far as a dancer, I was like, okay, if he's saying that, I'm like, all right, I should probably at least try it. And I mean, in the beginning, it's always tough to get your start. I started, I didn't have like big classes or anything like that, but I had a decent amount. It was, I guess, kind of, and especially it's weird for me because I hate promoting. I really don't. I don't like posting on social media. So for me to have to like promote my class and stuff like still to this day, I cannot stand it. But I mean, this is kind of the world we live in. So I was like very, very weirded out for that. I'm someone who really truly likes to be in the background. Like other than maybe, for video purposes, I understand like now it's like for promo or something like that. Like I generally try to like, I get in the socials and I try to dip out. Like people were like, oh, I didn't even know you were there. Like I'm like, good, I definitely don't walk in like, yo, look at me, yeah, man, come here, yeah, look at me. Like that's definitely not how I personally operate. And that kind of can rub some people the wrong way. Because when I'm out, because I'm an introvert, I really kind of just keep to myself, and that could look away like I'm too cool for school. But it's just, I just really like to be to myself. And then when I'm ready to dance, I'll go ask someone to dance. Because I really, honestly, sometimes I just like going out and watching. social, watching people social dance, and I'm okay. This is what people are doing. Okay, this is what I'm seeing. Like I just try to be very observant of the dance scene and somewhat the people in it, or the socials and stuff like that. So it's a catch-22. People that know me or at least gotten to know me know that like, okay, he's not really like that. And they'll usually come find me. They'll come talk to me or stuff like that. So when they come talk to me, I'm not like someone like, if you try to come talk to me, I'm like, okay, get away from me. But I will talk. But generally I like to just sit in my own silence, even though there's music there and kind of watch a lot of times, even though I do enjoy dancing, but that I do enjoy just watching as well.
Let me ask you this: for people out there who are also shy and maybe introverted, and maybe are even hesitant to even start dancing, what advice could you give for them?
In the beginning, it will be a little challenging. I mean, I know how to kind of conduct myself. I'm not really shy, but if you're really shy, once you taking a class is like I would say probably the best way. Trying to do a weekly class, because you will have to interact with other people. Like you're generally going to switch people, and you're going to kind of make conversation and stuff like that in between like the dances and stuff like that. So you will be able to meet new people. So it won't be like everyone just free for all and boom. Like it's gonna be nice, easy. I want to say it's a nice structure, so where you will be in a confined environment and be able to meet I want to say like-minded, but you will people that are trying to get better, and you'll meet a bunch of diverse set of people, and because generally a lot of times extroverts are in those classes, they will definitely convince you. Well, I won't say convince you, but try to get you out of your I won't say comfort zone, but try to get you out of your shell and kind of sometimes even drag you along to places. So you will be taken care of. Yeah, but I think if you as an introvert, you will be able to determine what your boundaries are. But it'll be, in my opinion, it'll be easy to kind of get out there and do it if you take a class. If you just go to an event, a social, that without taking a class, that will be very scary, because now you don't know anyone. Like you really don't know anyone, and now it's just now it's kind of somewhat based on appearance and vibes, and that can be very tough for an introvert or someone that's very shy. But once if you actually go to regular weekly classes or something like that, then you'll start to see some of the same people out, and they'll kind of bring you into the circle and have you meet people, and you meet friends of friends, and then then I guess the networking happens, and you'll meet, and then you'll be able to know more people, and as you go out. So
let me ask you this then, kind of a continuation, or I think we all go through this as dancers, especially in the beginner stage. But what advice can you give for someone who is hesitant or is fearful? They're going to classes, but they're fearful. They're hesitant to go to a social. How do you get over that fear of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've known a few people to like that. So if you truly want to get better, you got to go to a social. So if you truly want to get better, you got to go to a social. You can't beat real time experience, right? Like class is fine. Like you're not, you have to learn how to, I guess, swim in the ocean, right? Like you can keep the training wheels on or your little floaties on, but you have to get what you do in class is not always going to be representative of what's going to happen in at a social. So at least when you're dancing with someone. So someone, especially the files that are there, they know the pattern that you're doing. Like now, in order to truly be able to lead or follow, you really have to lead and follow. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. So
I definitely understand that. The classroom is is, a controlled environment. And a lot of times the follower is gonna, a lot of times, especially when you get into the follower is gonna backlead a little bit. So when you go to that social, that's where you truly test yourself, test what you know. And I've actually interviewed other people, and they say that social dancing is another form of practice. And I definitely agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah. We were talking about this before we hopped on. You were saying you have a social dancing team. I don't think I've ever actually heard that before.
Exactly.
Tell me, how is it?
This is new. This is definitely new.
How is it? How is a social dancing team, I guess, different than a performance team? To talk to you about that.
Yeah. So you're still gonna we're still gonna train somewhat like a performance team, but it's more for social dancing purposes. So like in a performance teams basically train, not to say they don't train, obviously they do, but they're training specifically for like a practice, like when I want to say like a performance thing, like a performance piece. They're gonna do this specific thing all the time and be able to perform it. So what I'm doing is basically I want people to level up, like to understand certain foundations, not necessarily beginner foundations, more like advanced beginner foundations that generally happen on a dance floor. And the only way you're going to be able to do it is kind of repetition. So you're going to repeat a lot of different stuff like you do in a performance. So if you have these foundations, then once you start to intermix these things with not just, with random different sequences, then you'll get what a social dance environment is like. So follows, we're gonna go over different following styling. Like I have follows doing their own partner work, footwork. So like they will have this just okay. So so follows know right and left turns, right? That's the same thing in partner work. You're gonna have to do those, but maybe they don't know how to do an inside turn just without a lead. Because a lot of times they may do it with the lead, but they may not know it inherently. They may kind of being dragged through it. But I want the followers to know how to do it even without a lead. So if I tell them, hey, what's an inside turn look like? And they're going to tell me. And they're going to show me. You'll be able to, and then, so then we will be able to ratchet it up with, and then with different levels of things of partner work stuff that we'll do, especially footwork. And then also understanding social cues, right? So like how to dance in a closed environment, how to style somewhat in a closed environment, what is some different dance etiquettes and stuff like that, right? So, but I'm just kind of going through just the movement and stuff like that, just kind of get everyone kind of acclimated, because everyone kind of thinks they're at a certain level and they're getting a little a taste of what I believe an advanced beginner should be. And we'll eventually start to, level up and stuff like that. So far, so good. It's going well so far. I had a really good turnout, shockingly.
So I'm curious, is this more supplemental to weekly classes? Is that what you're allowing, or?
I mean, yeah. I mean, for me personally, if they never went to if they never went to another class, all the tools for them to level up, even though they may not be able to do it in the time frame I'm asking them to. They will have all the necessary tools to level up. But just got to remember, everyone doesn't necessarily learn at the same pace. But I'm giving them someone an appropriate time, in my opinion, to learn. Because again, we're just repeating a lot of different stuff. So in my opinion, if you can't learn repeated tasks that you can practice, you're not going to learn random stuff that we come up with, right? So it's not as if they're going to have weeks and weeks of practice time we only meet once a week, so they got time to learn it, do all the things they do, and be able to do it to music. And we constantly go over and over and over it, and then we'll eventually get to different stuff like that. But in the beginning, I know people need repetition. People need repetition. And then we'll eventually start to ratchet up the speed, see how they able to progress with that. And then, test time will happen. And then we'll see, who can, because again, I want to make sure I don't want to be doing this forever. And it's not fair to everyone, the people that are, honestly, there's some people that are ready to level up now. They're just trying to just somewhat here, just appeasing me, just to, to kind of going over this. But again, I wanted to make sure everyone understood the foundations that I personally like to do. Because there's plenty of different styles and stuff like that. This is my specific style that I want everyone to know and learn, so that when we do, level up, there's no excuse. Oh, we didn't learn. No, you were here. You were here. You were with me, and yeah. So I want to make sure I give no one an excuse when that axe comes, it's like, oh, no. You had plenty of time. If you really want, you could have reached out to me and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this. So.
Tell me, how did you first meet Miss Silvia, Salsa with Silvia, and how did you end up teaching at her school? How did that all come about?
They reached out to me. I was kind of basically after the pandemic, I was kind of doing my own thing. I'll just say one of their main teachers got in trouble. I'm not going to say what happened. One of their main teachers got in trouble. They reached out to me, and then I kind of just was, said yes, and started teaching there.
And how has that been for you? How have you enjoyed that?
It's been good. I can't complain. It's been good. It's just they definitely told me when I got there, like, hey, your intermediate is not our intermediate, and so I had to, I had to, tone it down. But again, my goal is to get everyone better and stuff like that. So I had to readjust some things when I was there. And then now at least the classes that I'm teaching, the people I've definitely gotten better. And I'm definitely been able to see improvement in a lot of these dancers. So that's what generally makes me happy. So.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? You were teaching too much advanced or too little beginner?
Too advanced. So, like, when I think of intermediate, I'm thinking New York type intermediate, right? So I'm from Jersey, so I'm thinking like, or my personally, even though I've been in the DMV, like we are moving in group, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just always kind of just slow, or the concepts are a lot harder and stuff like that. There were a lot of things that when I got there, they weren't necessarily able to do, at least in the classes that I was teaching. I can't say for any other classes, but at least in the classes that I was teaching, a lot of things they weren't able to do. And now they're at least more comfortable. At least, when I do some things, I want to say that sometimes they're still scared, but they're not as scared, so.
For sure, I definitely understand that. Yeah, I definitely understand that. So let me ask you this, Dan. For someone who is an intermediate and they want to get to that advanced level, what does it take for them?
Even more training. Honestly, it is even more training. Being able to make difficult look easy and clean, and being able to put your own flair style on it. That's really where you get to it. And then oftentimes being able to learn fast, but that takes a little time. I mean, even there's some things I still, might struggle with and stuff like that at times in classes, if it's new to me or something like that. But yeah, like the most advanced people, they're able to digest information fast and kind of move and groove, and they're also able to dance to very fast music and still to make it look clean, and still be able to make it look clean. Because I definitely had a rude awakening for that. I was like, I'm dancing and stuff like that. Then I remember doing a test and getting my ass kicked when I went to Mambo Land. Not that I couldn't do it, but that was the first time that it was taught in that manner and expected to be at that speed. Because generally every time we learn something, we go slow. It's like, oh, okay, we do this. No, it's like, it's like, okay, I'm all right. I can do that. And then having to retain it very fast and then being able to do it in front of a lot of people very fast. So that was, again, that for me, that concept was new to me. I was I always trained to build up. And now, like I said, because I had that rude awakening, I had to change my training habits when I get a chance to now. At least at that time, I had to train my training habits. And now I'm really busy, so it's hard for me to train as much for me personally. But there's still some drills that I'll do, like, okay, just to make sure, like, I'm able to, get some stuff and train fast. So.
I definitely understand that, man. I definitely do. Let me ask you this, man. When I say the word musicality, what does that mean to you?
Okay, so for me, musicality is being able to interpret. It's really two things: being able to interpret the music with your body. That's really, honestly, that's really what it is. There's times where you can do it in a performance-y way, meaning like it's planned, or you can do it spontaneous. Spontaneous is the absolute hardest to do. Because when it's in a performance way, you literally are taking time to think about it. Like when I hear this horn, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? But when you're social dancing and then you may know a song and it's to go dun, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that to be able to do that on the spot, very hard. Only a few people, I want to say, like in comparison to the amount of people that dance, it's only a select few that can do that. Body movement is very hard, and musicality is very hard. Like to have you have to have an extensive repertoire of body movement and dance knowledge to be able to do that. And that's why when people do it, it gets so much praise, because it's extremely difficult. I mean, it's something I'm still personally working on. I still have a long way to go in that. But yeah, that is very hard to do.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said it though. It's infinitely easier when your favorite song comes on. That's definitely easy. But songs that you're acclimated to, that songs you've heard before, of course, it's going to be infinitely easier to practice and implement.
But I mean,
how I do that.
Even with your favorite song, it's still hard. The reason I say that is, like, most people, I'm exaggerating. Even I've been guilty of this myself. So if I hear dun dun dun, right, I can do dun dun dun, that's kind of almost low hanging fruit. To be able to, then maybe if I'm, if I'm now I go dun dun dun, say something like that. Like that's more difficult. Or if someone literally steps dun dun dun, like that. I don't want to say anyone can do it, but like a lot of people can do that. But to become creative, like when the music comes in, okay, dun dun, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just exaggerating, but to do stuff like that, to on the spot when even if it's your favorite song, is very, very hard to do. So, but and that, again, that takes practice as well. That like a lot of the. I'm sure we've all done this. Like, you back when we were little, your favorite songs come on, you're performing, right? Like you would have to do the same thing at home when your favorite salsa song comes on. You gotta listen to dun, dun, dun. I don't know, whatever. So like you would have to be able to do that over and over, and challenge yourself each time. Okay, I done this before. All right, don't do that again. What happens when you do? Oh shoot! Like you gotta fight through that. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, let me ask you this, man. I want to hear from you. In your opinion, what makes for a good follow?
Okay, light. Like I cannot stress that enough. In my opinion, most follows are very tense and heavy has nothing to do with actual weight. It is how you carry. It's how you carry yourself during the dance. You shouldn't have too much tension. There's a lot of followers that have I don't want to lift weights while I'm at the gym. While I'm dancing. Like that's what it feels like a lot of times. And I know so I know at times followers may feel like The only time I say I want my followers to be tense is when they feel like they're in danger. And I know a lot of leads can be rough, so that's fair. But if you're dancing with a light lead, there should be no reason to be tense. And I don't think a lot of followers understand that they are being tense. They just, or that they're throwing their weight around, right? Like I shouldn't, as a lead, it's not my job to hold you up. Like, I'll provide you some stability for whatever we're doing, but you have to carry your own weight. It's just, I just want my followers to be light, because I'm a light lead. I can somewhat adjust, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to. Like, if I feel a follower that's heavy and tense, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, I will basic her all night long. I will basic them all night. I'm right turn, left turn, smile, crossbody lead, cool. That's it. Nice little free spin. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going through a bunch of moves just to necessarily, assuming, if she wants that, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if she's an advanced follower, if I feel she's heavy, and it doesn't matter. I am not dealing with that. I'm not like that. Like, for me, dancing doesn't really get me tired, but that's what usually gets me tired. Like, so I'm like, because it literally feels like I was just at the gym walking around with the weights. That's really what it feels like. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do. Maybe I need it because I'm out of shape, but I don't want to do that while I'm dancing.
So then I guess the follow-up question is, how can followers be like, what should they focus on? What do they need to do?
Relaxing their shoulders and their elbows. Relaxing their shoulders and their elbows. If they're able to do that, like, a lot of times, that's it, and stay relaxed throughout the dance, unless tension is called for, and you'll feel that. You'll feel when the lead actually, and it's a very split second, where the lead will ask and provide tension in their fingertips, and then you have to respond as a follow very quickly. So for me, lightness is the biggest thing. And then just understand, and then just being able to understand, my personal opinion, advanced beginner concepts without, processing that information quickly. The different leads. Okay, the lead asked me to do this. Oh, I know I can do that. Oh, I felt this. So then, like, being able to process very quickly. Because is one thing to kind of understand, is that one another to actual process. Because I follow too. So, and I sometimes mess up, and I literally would be like, I know what they asked me to do here. After I messed up, I'm like, okay, I know what they asked me to do. I just didn't process it very fast. But I don't follow a lot because I'm usually being asked to lead. But especially if there's not a lot of followers, I'll just like, hey, lead me. You know what I'm saying? And go through there, because, like, especially as a teacher, if you don't know the follow steps, in my opinion, it's like, I don't have a follow partner like that. So I have to teach both roles. And I honestly enjoy teaching both roles, because I get my followers to do a specific steps and stuff like that. But so, like, you have to understand, especially as a lead, if you don't have a partner, you got to understand both roles, what the followers are doing. So being able to process quickly, and then like I've danced with some of the top dancers, and they've been heavy, and I did not enjoy it. So again, it just doesn't matter what your level is. I just want you to be able to be, my biggest thing is being light. That is my biggest complaint to followers.
Okay, I definitely understand that. Let me ask you this last question, man. Can you give me one tip, one piece of advice that can make anyone a better dancer immediately?
Probably the biggest thing is just consistency. That's really it. Like, you don't just take a class and voila. You got to be consistent. Whatever it is, salsa, bachata, zouk, kizomba, whatever it is, you got to be consistent. And that's the only way you're actually, going to get better.
Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, really, it really is. It really is.
Yeah. I want to thank you, man, for taking time out to talk to me, man.
No, I appreciate this, man. This was fun. Yeah, man. I again unexpected, so I'm glad you reached out, man. It was definitely
Of course.
fun.
Yeah. So so tell me, man. I guess how can people reach out to you? How can they get in contact with you?
So I have a website, elmorenito.com. You can reach me on Facebook, elmorenito780 at elmorenito780, and Instagram, elmorenito780. So yeah, those are the main forms of contact that I do. But my website has all that information on there. So just elmorenito.com. Yeah, just follow me. Give me a like, give me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about my videos and stuff like that. That would, just appreciate you guys for the support.
Perfect. Well, I didn't ask you this, man, but so tell me, what did you come up with the El Morenito? Where did that come from?
Oh, I told you, but yeah, it was in my when I was practicing. When I was practicing at work, that's where it came from. So when I started teaching, I was like, I saw people that had a name, and I'm like, okay, I need a name in order to teach, right? So like, or at least a nickname, and that's just like, okay, if people I already had people call, like at least from work, I had people calling me that, and I was just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I might as well just go with it,
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect, man. That's perfect. Like I said, man, I want to thank you, man, for taking time out of your day, man. Is there, before we close out this episode, 2 or 3 podcasts, is there any last words you want to share? Anything you want to say?
I'm just appreciative for all the support that I've gotten. If you truly want to get better, you got to put the time in, and I have to say that dance, even though you will get better, there's going to be highs and lows, right? There may be times you regress. That may happen. That it's not just linear. It's not just linear. It's more like a hill, right? So get used to, I guess, messing up. Messing up happens. Even the best mess up. I see it all the time. I mess up. I'm not the best, but it happens. Work through it. It's going to get better. But if you truly want to get better, you have to go through the highs and lows like everyone else, and be consistent. All right. So that's it.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect, man. I want to thank you, El Morenito, for taking time out your day for us.
Thank you.
For this episode of the 2 Week Podcast, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, El Morenito.
All right, you too, man.
Adios.